What is going on, everybody? My name is Brad Carney, and I'm the lead developer on Exoverse. And today I want to talk a little bit about random number generation and how to do it properly in games, seeing as I pretty much figured out how to do it properly myself. So I want to share a little bit of that knowledge with you all, and also communicate that this is going to be fixed in the next update. So hooray! Basically, something that's been coming up throughout the different versions of this game is that basically the random number generation seems to be kind of busted. People are reporting getting the same items over and over again, facing the same bosses many times in a row. And for a while, I didn't think there was an issue. Maybe it just wasn't observant and observing it, when I went through the game. I would do tests, I would generate a bunch of random numbers and make sure, there's a proper distribution and everything. And everything seemed to be fine on my end. Basically, people were correct to report that there was indeed a problem with the random number generation. And I'm going to explain to you why that is and how we've fixed that. So basically, the way a random number generation works is that, let's say like I roll a die, for instance. There's 6 sides to it. Basically, there should be an even distribution of all of those possible outcomes. So, it's an even chance that I get a 1, I get a 2, a 3, 4, 5, 6. And so, basically, if I roll that die, like, an infinite amount of times, I should get each one of those possible outcomes the same number of times. But that's for a large sample size. Now, let's say I only roll the die, like, 2 times. There's a good chance, a 1 in 6, that I get the same value twice. I could easily roll a 4 and then a 4. So basically, when you have a small sample size, there's a much higher chance that you're not getting the proper amount of distribution and variance between the random number values that you try and generate. It's even more apparent, when let's say you're like flipping a coin, heads or tails. It's very possible that you can get heads like 6 times in a row, for instance. Even though, if you flip that coin an infinite amount of times, you're going to get an even amount of heads and tails. But if you're just looking at like a very small window, you can see like lots of repetition of the same heads or tails, and that's really bad in games because let's say like I don't know, you have a game that has 2 bosses and you're randomly rolling every time which boss you get. There's a strong chance you can get the same boss many times in a row. So to demonstrate that, I've done 2 different methods of randomization. One is kind of the old method, and I've tried doing some fixes, but the fixes are basically this old method, and then the new method. So first of all, let's just go to the menu here, mix things up a little bit, change up the music. I'm gonna do rand 1, which is the old method. This is over here now for some reason. So basically, this is just flipping a coin. And just kind of printing out heads or tails. And it's doing 1,000 flips. So as you can see, like it's pretty even distribution of heads and tails. Both are pretty close to 500. And this is what I was looking at. This is what I thought was bugged, and that people were complaining about. No, that's completely wrong. What people were complaining about is things like this, where like it just rolls like heads like 6 times in a row. There's even a particularly egregious block up here. But let's just go with this one. It's a nice little 6 heads in a row. So, to kind of like explain like why this is bad. Again, like let's say heads is a Gagordo, since that's the one everyone hates, and tails is Space Jam. If you were just playing Exoverse during this, it'd be Gagordo. And it just wouldn't be fun. Like it wouldn't be varied. Like this would all be correct. Like these are all randomly generated numbers, but like if you run into this, like that's not a lot of fun. So basically, what I've done is implement a method to basically ensure that you don't run into these kind of little ruts, and it's been applied to bosses, item spawns, and that kind of thing. So basically, it's still random, but like it's ensuring that like we don't run into any of these kinds of pitfalls. So like if I do that, now it's rand 2. So as you can see, it's still random, but you're not running into anything that's you know, the same thing 3 times in a row. So basically what's going on, the method is called like a grab bag, I think it's called. I will link to it in the comments if any of you out there are curious how to implement this. But basically the gist of how it works is that basically like you kind of put a bunch of numbers into like a bag, you know, like of all the possible outcomes you want. And then you, so like heads or tails, like in this instance, and then you just gotta pull one out at random. And then once you've pulled out everything, then you reset it. And that's basically how this is working. So, you know, it's tails and heads. You know, so there's like a value of heads and tails in the bag. First you pull out a tails, and then heads do anything left, so you pull out a heads, and then you reset it. Then you get heads, tails, reset it, tails, heads. It's like you can get a little bit of repetition, but like it's not that bad. It's nothing. It's nothing like this abomination up here. So, you know, I think this is going to fix, you know, basically a lot of the issues that people were having with the random number generation. You know, some people shouldn't be getting the same items over and over again. Shouldn't be getting the same bosses over and over again. But really, this fixes the main issue that we were having with our random number generation, which is that when you have a small sample size, you know, it's very easy to get the same value over and over again. Like here's another one with tails 6 times in a row. Actually, looks like it's 7, but anyway, yeah, there's another giant thing of heads there, and you know that's not a lot of fun. So yeah, so this should be fixed in the next update. And if you're out there, developer, and I hope this helped you, helps you with your random number generation, and hopefully it can help. But anyway, so that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys have a good day, and take care.